Welcome to Horrify Environment. If you are new here, you can subscribe our channel. We upload daily horror videos. There once existed an old mansion with an enigmatic past in a little village tucked amid mist-covered hills. Stories of weird happenings within its confines were whispered by the townspeople, but none were quite as terrifying as the story of the haunting room of 333. Blackwood Manor was a centuries-old mansion that towered above the village like a quiet sentinel made of dark stone. The mansion was supposedly cursed, and anyone who ventured through its corridors was guaranteed to change forever. Blackwood Manor had numerous rooms, but room 333 was one that terrified everyone who knew about it. It was said that the darkness in this area was so deep that a single glance might send someone insane. When the mysterious Blackwood family initially constructed the home years ago, the tale surrounding room 333 was born. They were said to engage in dark rituals and occult activities inside their house. Stories of odd activities occurring at the mansion spread over the years, with room 333 at the epicenter of it all. A night spent in room 333 was supposed to bring terrible visions and hauntings from the past for anyone who ventured to stay there. Some reported feeling a cold chill in the air that seemed to penetrate their very bones, while others reported hearing spooky whispers resonating down the hallways. There were always those dumb enough to test the legend for themselves, in spite of the cautions and horror stories. A young man by the name of Jacob, who had just acquired Blackwood Manor from a distant relative, was one such individual. By nature, Jacob was skeptical and mocked the beliefs surrounding the mansion. To him, room 333 was just an empty room with a make-believe story hanging over it. Jacob vowed to spend a night in room 333 and come out of it unharmed, determined to disprove the doubters. Jacob headed for room 333 as the sun began to set and the shadows became longer. With a foreboding moan, the door creaked open, and as he walked inside, a chill went down his spine. A lone, flickering candle provided the room's poor lighting, creating long, spiraling shadows on the walls. The smell of rot permeated the air, and Jacob could feel the decades bearing down on him. Jacob was overcome with a sense of discomfort that weighed him down like a thick blanket, even in spite of his boldness. Though he made an effort to persuade himself that it was all in his head, he felt in his heart that something was seriously wrong. Jacob's temper grew strained as the hours went by, and the darkness grew deeper. His paranoia grew with each creak of the floors and each whisper of the wind. Jacob then heard it, right as the clock struck midnight. A quiet, mournful cry that seemed as though it came straight from the walls. The boom reverberated throughout the room, making his blood run cold and instilling in him a feeling of fear he had never experienced before. Jacob groped for the candle with shaky hands, hoping that the flickering light would drive away the shadows that were dancing all about him. However, just as he touched the flame, a strong blast of wind blew through the space, instantly putting it out. Jacob was overcome by a series of eerie whispers and groans in the pitch-black darkness, each one more terrifying than the last. From the shadows, he could feel eyes watching him, eyes full of malicious purpose. Unable to control his fear, Jacob staggered aimlessly about the space, his pulse palpitating. He realized he had to get out of there, get away from this nightmare before it swallowed him completely. But no matter which direction he went, room 333's oppressive grasp would not release Jacob. The walls seemed to have come to life, contorting and changing to hold him captive within their control. Jacob struggled against the darkness for hours on end, his sanity failing him more and more every second. He let out so many screams that his throat hurt, yet the emptiness ate up his cries, sending them deep into the eerie mansion. And suddenly, just when it looked like there was no hope left, a meager hint of light emerged from the distance. Jacob battled his way toward it with newfound vigor, his only thought being a frantic one: get away. Breathless, Jacob fell to the floor as he staggered out of room 333 and into the refreshing night air. The shadows that had followed him for so long were dissipating as the first rays of dawn emerged over the horizon. Jacob realized that he would never fully be free of the evils that lurked within Blackwood Manor, even as he lay there, shattered and battered. Because of this, the myth of Room 333 would endure, serving as a reminder of the evil that some people harbor. And everyone who ventured through its eerie hallways did so at their own risk, leaving them vulnerable to the ghosts that wandered the halls eternally.